Enough! You want Asgard? It's yours.
Whatever game you're playing, it won't work. You can't defeat me.
No, I know. But he can.
No!
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report. Joe Burrow is not elite. That is all.
South FFL, are you ready for your weekly analysis? Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right, guys, welcome back to your weekly South FFL podcast. This week, I am joined by Ryan, Adam, and we have a special guest today, Braxton. First time we have him on. Welcome, Braxton. How are you feeling today?
Not so good.
How come, buddy?
Starting off 0-2 is never fun. Not panicking, though.
No, you're not the only one. There's three of us out here. So
Sheesh.
Pod. It was inevitable though, right? Because every winner and every loser played each other last week, so you're gonna have 3 0-2 teams no matter what.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair
So
assessment.
you're gonna have 3 2-0 teams.
So, let's get this started. Do you want to talk about your matchup first, Braxton?
Yeah, I always love playing Allen because I feel like me and him always trade every single season. Something always goes down. But to be straight, I think he got lucky. I would love to rematch him, and he texted me, called me a poverty franchise, and he'll see me in the playoffs. So if he doesn't make the playoffs, I'm screenshotting that and posting it in the group message, so just be ready for that. But
Okay.
I mean, I had a lot of calls not really go my way. There was I have the Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton stack. They had a touchdown called back. Marquise Brown had a touchdown called back on the half-yard line. Jonathan Taylor will probably have his worst week of the year last week, hopefully. And then Kareem Hunt had 3 touchdowns vultured from him from Nick Chubb, so just wasn't my week.
So I think what I was saying was last week when we were doing the podcast, me, Ryan, and Adam, I think had your team going or winning this week, and things didn't turn out the way we planned. And Jonathan Taylor was only limited to 6.8 points, which is really, really crappy for the first overall pick. And I think he's going to have better weeks ahead of him. I don't think the Colts are going to get shut out like this. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be able to run the ball.
He went from having 31 carries week 1 to 9 week 2.
Yeah,
I don't really see that happening.
I think it's also notable that even in a game where they're clearly outmatched, he still averaged 6 yards on the carry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely think something went on in the Colts that just made them go awful. I don't think they're as bad as Justin is freaking out. They played division games, and division games are always, they're good competitors. Rex Ryan always understood Tom Brady, and the Jets would give him competitive games, and then they would suck against every other team in the league.
Yeah, except they're playing the Chiefs next week, so that might be another
so we'll
tough
actually be able to tell. Maybe they are a
yeah.
poverty franchise,
And
as Alan would say.
one last thing about my matchup with Allen. Of course, he had some stuff like Kyle Pitts putting up 2, Jerry Jeudy going out to injury, MVS with 2 points. Coming in on Thursday night, seeing MVS in his flex put up 2 points, I was like, all right, got this week in the bag. But I was up a little over 30 points before Stephon Diggs and Miles Sanders on Monday night, and it's not fun going against any player on the Bills.
Yeah, I don't think. There you go, Ron. Good.
Oh no, I was just saying the Bills' offense is crazy. I think Stephon's gonna do that for Allen a lot this year, where he's gonna put his team on his back and win it for him. But I think that to Allen having MVS in his flex, Allen did mean to put Hunter Renfrow there, and I guess something happened like maybe he was in the car or whatever, but it didn't save the lineup. So the MVS start was an accident. But I agree with what you guys said. Your team just had a down week that, I don't think will happen very often.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think Stefan, he's gonna be really good, but he's not putting up 40 every week.
I don't think so.
That's a bit
He's not putting
high.
up 40 every week, but I feel
He's still good. He put up 20 pretty
could
consistently. But I saw a statistic out there today that the top 5 receivers are averaging 26 points a game for the first 2 games, and the top 5 running backs are averaging 16, which is not typically
Yeah, wide
how
receivers
it
on the
goes.
rise.
And so, I think typically they end up hitting those I don't know, consistency, where the players score. And I think it's just been big on the receivers at the moment, with all of them. And I think it could die down a little bit because I just don't think the production is can't keep up at this level because it's unprecedented. But who knows? Maybe this is a new year and it's gonna be one of the craziest passing seasons of all time. And you should have took a receiver with your first picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we should break down Alan's team. He'll want to hear us talk about his team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Big. So I think last week Alan was panicking that his team was down the drain, and I think this week's pretty decent for him. Najee is never going to be a great back for Alan, but I think he'll be a decent back. And then Stephon and I believe Kyle Pitts will end up having good weeks ahead. I feel like those two will be able to put Alan's team on their backs and carry him to a decent amount of wins this season.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Alan's team, I almost traded for Najee Harris last week, and I pulled the offer because I was going to trade him Kareem Hunt and Russell Wilson because he was having some quarterback troubles. Then I did a deeper dive into Najee and his injury, how many yards per carry he's getting, how he's never really getting thrown the ball to. Yeah, I don't think he can really rely on Najee. He'll score around 10 points, but I don't think he's going to blow up like any of these other guys can. Miles Sanders, first 2 weeks are good, but once you start trusting Miles Sanders, things might go wrong.
Sure.
He's definitely got some good receivers. If Jerry Jeudy can go back from injury, he looked like the guy with Cortland Sutton there. Those are both fantasy viable receivers. Kyle Pitts, very talented, but hopefully they can get him involved. I also like Breece Hall a lot. I think towards the second half of the season, he'll be a lot better than what he is now. He'll probably take over that starting role. And I think week 1 he led running backs in targets, I'm pretty sure, which is always wonderful for fantasy running backs.
Yeah, it's
I like it. I like his
receptions.
6.
He has 6 receptions.
Maybe it was, I think it was the targets.
I'll see how many
that
targets
was
he has, but 6 receptions. A lot. Targets.
I could see his team fighting to make the playoffs this year. So.
You really think his team will make a playoffs, huh?
I don't personally think he's going to be a top 3 or 4 team, but I think he can fight for a spot.
I'll be completely honest. I think Allen got lucky this week. I'll be straight up. I don't think Tua maintains the production that he did. Obviously he scored 43 on his bench. And Allen didn't play. I mean, he would have beat you by a lot more if he had. And I don't think Carson Wentz maintains the production that he's had either.
I wonder if he's going to start 2 against the Bills next week. That'll be interesting to see what he does.
There's no way. Who's Wentz playing next week?
Wentz plays Philly.
Philadelphia.
Oh, he might be starting Tua then. I see a Tua start.
Yeah, I just don't think they maintain this level of production. Tua does have all the weapons he needs. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek are the fastest players in the league. But, I think defenses will catch on as the season goes, and, Tua will be throwing more things that, are going to be more complicated, and I think he'll have a hard time dealing with that. I don't know. I think Allen's team just got kind of lucky this week, 80 points between 2 players. is not a consistent winning strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I'll say
Allen
Brees Hall playing good actually is a good thing though. I do like that.
Yeah, I think yeah, like you said, Adam. This week, Allen kind of got lucky with the way his team played. Kyle Pitts. There were a lot of concerns about him like not getting the ball that like he came into this season having like everything laid out for him from the past season, right? We all thought he's gonna be like tied number one, maybe top two, maybe. But he's been producing 2.9 weeks for the second consecutive weeks, and I think like going forward with the way that the Falcons are playing, like I don't think that Kyle Pitts is going to have more than like any more of those breakout weeks that he had last year. Maybe a few, but not as much as he did. And I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to score 38 points every week or 40 points. He can average like 20 points or 25 points, like a lot of like analytics we're talking about. But yeah, I don't see him dropping 38 points every single week.
That might be his best game of the season right there.
Right.
It will be his best game.
Yeah.
100%.
And then it comes to Miles Sanders, where the Eagles' backfield is still, running back by committee, and you can't really trust that. Like a player that's going to be in that, situation, you can't really do that. And then, like you guys said, Najee Harris is going to have some injury problems. We don't know if he's going to be healthy the entire season. We don't know if he's going to produce any more than, 11 points every single game. We don't know that.
And
then Brees Hall.
Ben, sorry,
right.
he had Big Ben checking down to him so much last year, and Mitch Trubisky doesn't seem to be wanting to do that.
Yeah, I don't see as much checkdowns as I did like from the previous seasons in the Steelers. And then Brees Hall, Michael Carter's still there, right? He's not hurt or anything.
Michael Carter's still there. Michael Carter. Yeah. Part of the reason he played really, they had a big week, against Cleveland. They dropped 30. Yeah, they dropped 31. Sorry, my eyes didn't realize they had won. Or I forgot they had won. So they had a pretty big week, where the offense was, moving, and I don't trust the Jets to do that consistently.
Nah, I don't think they do that. With Joe Flacco in the back, like as a quarterback, I don't think that's
I do think Kyle Pitts will have better days. 'Cause I don't think the question of the talent is there. It's a question of the coaching usage, right? And how they're scheming him. And I'm assuming at some point in time, but they are playing decently well. As you would because I think people thought that Falcons had the chance to be the worst team in the league this year. I don't think I'm out of pocket for saying that, right?
No, definitely not.
I don't think so.
And so they're actually playing really well, and he's not getting used for whatever reason, and they're playing well with, without him being used as a, as an offensive weapon, I guess per se.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's more of a coaching problem in Kyle Pitts. I'm not saying like he's not talented. He's definitely talented. He was very talented last year, but with everything like laid out for him, we thought that he was going to be, the top one here this season, but it's just not there yet. But he will have better days. I agree.
Yeah, I think I don't know if anyone else has anything else to say. We can move on to the next matchup.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So who do we got next?
Well, that one is in like the middle, but I guess we can start the first on mine, which I don't even want to talk about this game because it's so bad.
The Mud Bowl.
It's mine.
It's the Mud Bowl.
Yeah, and we can start off with my team, which, I'm not going to try to hide the fact that my team sucked this week. Kirk Cousins in prime time, don't want it.
Was he 2-32 in prime time?
I think that was a misleading statistic.
Was it?
Yeah, because I've seen him beat the Saints twice. Do you consider in the playoffs? Do you consider that to be prime time?
Gotcha.
And I don't think those are his only, prime time wins are against the Saints in the playoffs. But that is true. I'm pretty sure he's 2-10 on Monday night. And he was brutal. There's a lot of opportunities for Justin Jefferson to get touchdowns in the end zone, which would have won me the game, and didn't happen because Kirk threw interceptions to Darius Slay instead. I don't think that's a mark on how the season's going to go. He's finished as a top 12 quarterback, over the last couple seasons. and I reckon we will see that again. Running backs, I still have a lot of questions there. I'm honestly not entirely sure who I'm going to play. I am happy. Usage between Dameon Pierce and Cam Akers was up, so I have a little more confidence in playing them. So maybe the situation will be a little bit better than I'm not playing second two. I think Dameon Pierce is the guy in Houston. And then, I have to play running back by Comedia, one or the other, in my RB2. I'll be honest, I'm kind of happy Trey Lance got hurt because I think Debo and George Kittle would be better off with Jimmy Garoppolo playing quarterback for him.
Yeah, Trey Lance kind of steals some touchdowns around the goal line.
Yeah.
So I could see that being better for Debo and George.
Yeah, straight up, I think Jimmy's better for them. I'm happy with Curtis Samuel. He's playing pretty well. I don't know how long that will last, if I'm being honest. I'm not going to, say what I said about Allen's team inconsistency and not say it about my own. Curtis Samuel is not on the Panthers anymore for a reason. And, I don't know how long it'll last. But, he is getting his percent on the field was increased by like 18%, from week 1 to week 2. And so he's played really well, but they're have been playing from behind and, played Detroit. So it is what it is. Tight end, George Kittle will be back at some point. So, hopefully I won't be getting more zeros or 1.1s from that. And then I don't intend to play a negative 8-point defense every single week. So hopefully that doesn't continue.
About your team, yeah, I mean, not much else to say. You definitely have holes at the running back spot, but
oh yeah,
one or two good waiver wire pickups could maybe change that around. Your receivers are really good. Justin Jefferson and Debo are wonderful. I think you probably have a better receiving core than Allen, comparing it to him.
Yeah, I mean, Amari's got 20 on the bench too.
Yeah, I think you got him there, but Najee, I guess, is better than the running backs you have.
100%. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to argue on that one.
Yeah.
But the way, what's his name? I mean, Stephon Diggs is playing, he's debatably the best receiver in the league, You could argue Cooper Kupp ahead of him, but, he is playing the best.
Yeah, I think you touched most of the points on your team, and I feel like, like your team played played quite a bit worse as a whole, I guess, but you're just missing the Justin Jefferson 40-point week that you had week 1. Like
and 37 between kicker and defense also.
Yeah, right.
I had negative 4 between them too this week.
Yeah, this is the same way your team played last week. It's just missing that boom week from Justin Jefferson, and so I think we could potentially see maybe more of not a handful, but a couple more of these weeks in the Flow Nose Futures when Justin Jefferson has his rare bad games. But like Braxton said, if you make a trade for a good running back or happen to hit on a good waiver claim or something, you have really good receivers. And I guess Kittle's got to stay healthy, but
yeah, I'm actually happy they're keeping him off because I'd rather him be healthy long term than have him back for 1 week.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I agree with what you said. I think him and Debo are much better fantasy assets with Jimmy Garoppolo out there than with Trey Lance out there.
Yeah, I think Colin Cowherd would agree to the assessment as well.
True.
He's definitely they definitely have better values for sure. But let's talk about your team. You went you told us last week you're going to start Jamal Williams, and which you did. I'm very proud of you. But unfortunately, he didn't have the production that he had last week. But the Lions' offense is really nasty this year, though.
Yeah, I mean, he got a lot of touches. He actually objectively played better this week than he did last week. He just didn't get the touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm already looking at the lineups for the next week. You're starting Cam Akers, Adam?
Dude, he had 15 touches, and they're playing Arizona. I got to. Listen.
I think it's a good start.
I'm 0-2. I'm pushing my chips to the middle. I'm throwing some. I'm playing Ryan dropped 130 this week. I got to be going all in on what I think has the higher ceiling. All right,
Yeah.
meet me
Does that
halfway
mean
and
you're
play Daryl
benching
Henderson.
Are
Huh?
you starting or benching Zeke?
I'm benching Zeke.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't trust him.
Damn, Zeke about to have his best game of the year.
Zeke the freak.
I'm gonna lose my mind if he does. But dude, our offense is not gonna be great behind Cooper Rush. He lost. Dalton Schultz hurt his ankle, right?
It was
I wanna make sure
PCL, I
the
think.
knee injury. Sorry, I'm a dummy. So many ankle injuries, but
Which is the same injury Ezekiel Elliott had last year that was like nagging on him throughout the second half of the season. So.
yeah, I don't trust Cooper Rush, and honestly, the Giants have been playing pretty good. They're not great, but they're better than they were last year, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know though, because the Titans clearly suck, and I don't know how much I respect Carolina either. So we'll see.
I was very surprised to see Michael start Dalton Schultz over Freiermuth. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean his team will be fine when because he'll start starting Pat instead. But I guess we can move to his team, which I don't know if there's much to say about it different than last week. I still don't think I think his team actually got a little bit worse, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
With Dalton
Austin
Schultz.
Eckler kind of started off slow. I think he's going to turn it around. I've been sending out trade offers for him, not going to lie. So, Michael, if you're listening to this, either reject it or accept it, one of the two. So I know you see him. CeeDee Lamb, I have him in our Dynasty League, and I looked back last year. The only game Cooper Rush started, he had over 100 receiving yards. So I think he's still going to get the target. CD's all right. He's obviously doesn't have that high ceiling as he does if Dak's playing, but it's not like you're going to bench CD for anybody on his bench, like Russell Gage or Tyler Lockett. So
Maybe Tyler Lockett. I'm not gonna lie.
Tyler
don't
Lockett's a
think so.
boom guy, but
yeah,
you're hoping for if you need an absolute bomb of a game, then maybe play Tyler Lockett because he has the ability to drop big points. He
Yeah.
has the ability to drop 2. You should know that, Leo. You had him for
Yeah, it was very depressing.
I wonder what's going to happen with Devin Singletary. Like last week on Thursday night, he looked like the guy. Like he looked fresh, he looked good, and then he comes out. I mean, he put up 3 points, but I guess it wasn't a competitive game, so you
He
can
only
kind of
got
throw that
6
out just a
touches
little bit.
or 6 carries. I should say.
Yeah, that's tough, but I don't know. His team's all right. It could pick up if Austin Eckler starts getting some touchdowns, but yeah, I don't see his team being one of the best in the league. But I know he had to auto draft, so he's got to
He'll
do
get
with what he
J.K.
had.
Dobbins back though.
JK will be nasty. I feel like JK will do a lot of the dirty work when he comes back.
I'm
You
not
see
too
the video
high
I
on
sent you
JK.
guys? Of
Not
Justice
too high.
Hill? Like
Gonna
not
be
even
like a
looking at the
really
open
good-
field.
You have going to have Lamar Jackson taking a lot of those rushing yards and rushing touchdowns away from their run game, but JK could be all right. But I'm out on him. But
Yeah, I think I agree with what you guys said. Last week we talked about how we were pretty low on my dad's team, and I'm still pretty low. I think CD can be all right with Cooper Rush there, but I definitely wouldn't want 2 Cowboys pass catchers. And I guess you guys said Scholes was injured, so definitely not an injured one with Cooper Rush passing to him. And then, it doesn't look like DJ Moore and Baker Mayfield are working out the way that his ADP in the draft was, people were hoping for. And so, I don't know. I don't see my dad's team as it currently stands as a playoff team, even if Austin Eckler does turn it around, which I agree. I think he will as well. I don't know. I don't think the team as a whole is that great. I think it has boom potential. We'll have, a good week here or there, but for the most part, I think it's going to be pretty low scoring weeks.
Hey, Chargers got to play Jacksonville next week. They just beat the Colts 24-0. Pretty scary.
Yeah, and if it's not playing, then I'll be a little worried. But if Herb's out there, I'm not too worried about Jacksonville.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
to be
next
honest,
game?
though,
Yeah.
I think I would rather them sit Justin Herbert this week.
he does have a fractured rib, I believe. So
He does have fractured rib cartilage. So if they sit him this week, I'm fine with that. I have Jameis on my bench, but I don't know. It's better. It's better for like the long run. I think.
Yeah.
They say.
Yeah, but no one else has anything to say. We can move on to
Yeah, we can move
Justin
on.
and Tate's game.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to lead this one, you're welcome to.
Right.
First of all, I think Joe Burrow is not elite. He's not. This man is not elite. And I think Tate's team, I think I would be worried now at this point. What? Come on, Adam. Now I'm going to have to cut this out, and then I'm going to have to supplement it with something else. Oh, God.
How's the focus with all the background noise?
You can hear my background noise?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's kind of tough. Bengals just said they overhauled their offensive line and spent like $74 million on it. And last year he got sacked 56 times. This year he's on pace to be sacked over 110 times. So
have you guys
they really got to figure that out.
Have you seen this? They have a thing that's going around on Twitter of offensive lines that give the best protection to quarterbacks or from sacks, and quarterbacks that are the best at like avoiding sacks. And
I think I've seen that. Was it like a chart?
So yeah, it's on a chart, and so essentially Joe Burrow ranks at as bottom left as you can go. So he's the worst at avoiding sacks, and his offensive line is the worst against protecting against sacks. It's like the two.
Watching him play, yeah, it kind of seems like whenever he turns to run away from one guy, he runs into another guy.
Yeah, it's like
seems to be a common occurrence.
You know, most quarterbacks are like in the middle, but he's like as far bottom left as you can go. He's the worst at avoiding sacks.
Tate's team looks like it's going to take a hit, though, with James Conner. I don't think the injury is super serious, but he could miss next week.
Yeah, that's
Mike
next
Evans
week's
suspension.
question.
Yeah, this is I play him next week, and I think this is my game to turn something around.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tate is going to have a tough time next week because without Mike Evans and without James Conner, he's looking. I guess Michael Carter's not too.
Christian Kirk's good.
I guess Christian Kirk's good, but I like to think Chargers secondary defense is pretty locked down. So,
let's hope so, man.
I think will lock him down. But Michael Carter, I think, will be a decent play for him. And he might end up playing Mooney. Who do the Bears play?
Dude, there's no way he should play Mooney.
They'll play the Texans.
He'd be out of his mind to play Mooney right now.
I kind of hope he does.
He had one catch for -4 yards last week, Ryan.
Yeah, but
week when he had one catch for 8 yards. He has 2 catches of 4 yards on the season.
I guess Christian Kirk is the wide receiver 7 right now. I didn't even notice he'd done well.
Yeah,
I guess
you have no confidence in playing Darnell Mooney at the moment, I think.
Also sent out some trades for Christian Kirk this week. Haven't got a response yet. So
Tate's still molding over the loss to the Cowboys. You may not hear from him in a minute.
Yeah, for Tate's team, I think he's got some studs on his team. Like as much as I trash on Joe Burrow, he's still a very good quarterback that's gonna be able to give Jamar Chase like the best season of his life this season. But with the way he's playing right now, the amount of time he takes to throw the ball, to get rid of the ball, it's not looking good. Like that's the biggest part of it, I think, is the problem.
Yeah. I think, maybe get down a little more, but stuff like your offensive line not protecting you, that's not really something that changes over a season. I don't think. And then, I think we talked enough about that, but like Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been pretty good for him, but I don't know if it's likely to maintain production that he has, which isn't great, but it's steady when you're only getting 8 carries a game. You're gonna have definitely games where he drops off and whatnot.
And I also don't think James Conner is going to be as good as he was last year because he scored an absurd amount of touchdowns. So that's going to regress, I think.
I think the Arizona offense is just the worst too.
Exactly, they're just bad.
They got lucky against the Raiders.
Yeah,
let's be real here.
He might
Did
have
they
some
get
holes.
lucky, or the Raiders just?
Dude, the Hunter Renfro, like they should have just won off a field goal, or I guess maybe missed the field goal and keep it going. But the Hunter Renfro fumble was just an unfortunate circumstance.
I would not want to play Jalen Waddle last week, or Aaron Jones for that matter. Justin seems like he had a little turnaround game. It seems like he was going a little crazy last week with the Colts losing and his fantasy team putting up that much points. But Allen Robinson looked like he turned it around a little bit.
Yeah, I think we had said that he was overreacting, if I am remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
And
Yeah, I think
I didn't
Aaron
realize Alvin
Jones-
Kamara's on IR. Also, just that real quick.
Yeah, he has that rib injury, but I think from what I was listening to today, it sounds like maybe next week. Well, I guess if he's on the IR, he can't be back next week.
I think
He's
that's
on the
4
actual
weeks minimum,
IR.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought it was 8.
Well, no, I think the Saints haven't put him on the IR. He's just on Justin's IR because it says here expectations are that he'll play in week 3, and that's what I thought I had heard today.
Oh, how's that pop? That's weird.
All right. So how do you guys think Justin's team is going going forward?
I think he's got a lot of depth. His running backs, Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, David Montgomery. He has the running backs to buy his time until Alvin Kamara gets back. And Jalen Waddle and Allen Robinson. I know he loves wide receiver 2s, and both of those guys seem to be decent. I think that week 1 Allen Robinson game was an outlier. Also, Allen Robinson should have had 2 touchdowns. I don't know if you guys saw that. The play was finished, and somebody upstairs called a timeout because they thought someone on the field had a concussion, so it erased the play. One of the most wild things I've ever seen. So I think his team's good. He's got Gabe Davis, too. I think he doesn't have a hole anywhere except maybe quarterback. And tight end, of course. Yeah. But tight ends are, if you don't have one of the top 2 guys, it's kind of like everyone's got that problem. But I think Tom Brady, not looking too good, especially with all of his injuries at wide receiver, and then Mike Evans missing another week. I think you might have to bench him this week.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm still not 100% sold on David Montgomery. I don't know. I just have this feeling that he's not gonna be as productive as he has been, or as he did, or as he was doing in week 2. I don't think he would be getting this much production. I don't know.
Maybe not, but he won't really have to start him whenever Alvin Kamara comes back if he doesn't want to, because he's still got Aaron Jones and Antonio Gibson.
You're right. Yeah, but that's the only thing that I have a problem with Justin's team is the David Montgomery, the Tom Brady. I don't think he'll be as reliable as he has been in the past. I don't think that I see that in him this season.
I think his team could definitely make the playoffs. I think he's definitely one of the contenders in the league.
I think Justin's definitely had a nice turnaround from how, at least I viewed his team at the beginning. I think if Waddle has more weeks like this and Allen Robinson is viable, I think once Brian Robinson comes back, Antonio Gibson will still be usable, but might see some of the touches come down. But like you said, I'll have Alvin Kamara as his RB2, and then he'll just be rotating people through the flex, whether it be Gibson or Montgomery or even Palmer. I think could end up coming out as a good flex option for him. So if Justin can get that tight end situation figured out, which there's some decent tight ends in regards to snap percentage on the waiver right now. So he definitely has options out there. And the QB situation's not great, but I think Tom Brady can turn it around too. I think Justin's team, like you said, will probably be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I think there's some things you guys do need to think about though. Antonio, like you're saying, when Brian Robinson comes back, Antonio Gibson's week was salvaged off a 1-yard touchdown. He averaged 2 yards
really?
carry. Yeah, he averaged 2 yards. He played horrible. And in Aaron Jones's case, there is always potential for him to have bust games because it is clearly a split backfield. Like, I don't even think that's up for debate. Him and AJ Dillon are both getting a lot of production, and it's just a matter who busts out those big plays. And I think Aaron Jones is still better than AJ Dillon, obviously.
think
But it is kind of split backfield, and as Bears would say, the Packers are dirty cheaters for that offensive holding play.
I would agree. I don't really think it would have mattered in the long run because the
No,
Bears
it wouldn't
have
have. It wouldn't have.
But the play calls were definitely questionable in that game.
Yeah. I'm sure Justin will appreciate having Gabe Davis back and having Alvin Kamara back. But
he's got depth.
I think Tom Brady will be a little bit better too. He was playing against New Orleans, who is notoriously good against him. So I wouldn't put too much stock in his low performance against them.
If he can get his weapons back, I think he'll be good. But next week's going to be tough.
He does also look pretty distraught during interviews, though, which I think.
Yeah, there's definitely some off-field stuff going on, probably with his wife.
Oh yeah.
He's struggling, and he doesn't have Chris Godwin. Probably not Mike Evans next week. I can't remember if Russell Gage ended up playing or not, but tough.
I think they're going to have Julio and Russell Gage as their top two, because people thought it was kind of funny because it's like the Falcons' two receivers not last year, but like in the past.
Yeah.
Unless y'all have anything else to say, we move on to the next game.
Yeah, we don't have much to say.
Who are you starting with, Boss or Erman?
Start with Erman. I think Erman's team, I was really hoping he was going to pull out this win so that I could stay first in the West. Unfortunately, Derrick Henry did nothing after his one touchdown. Erman's team, like we said on the first day, has some serious running back problems. With Elijah Mitchell on the IR, he finally had to pick up another running back, but he still only has those two. Now still no other running backs on the bench. And so, I don't know. I think Derrick Henry is obviously going to play better than what he did this week. Like, Buffalo is an extremely good defense from what it seems. But I'm not sold on Kenyon Drake. So I think he's got a pretty serious hole in his running back situation. Erman does have really, really good receivers. Like Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, and Bateman is itself a pretty nasty wide receiver stack. But I don't know. I'd be concerned, I guess, that the Lions put up as many points that they did, and T.J. Hawkinson's not, like, he got 7 targets, I guess. You can't complain about that for a tight end, but only 4.1 fantasy points when they're scoring 36 points is not what you would hope for from a tight end in that offense. So, I think Erman's team, if he can get the running back situation figured out, is good, but there's not too much running backs out there, and he doesn't have any backups to help fix that situation. So I don't really know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't figure that out before I play him this week. So
I was out on Derrick Henry at the beginning of the year. He has broken bones in his feet. We all know how heavy he is too. So that just seems like, and I think he's almost 30. So just all signs look down, especially the offense losing AJ Brown. That's tough. And next running back up being Kenyon Drake, that's tough. That's really tough. And I think Tyreek Hill might have just had his best game too, just like Jalen Waddle and Stephon Diggs. So, but there's still good receivers on it. Rashad Bateman breakout's the thing. He's got a solid team. He could figure it out with 1 or 2 waiver wire pickups or trades.
Yeah. I think the problem we mentioned week 1 still persists, that he has no depth to his team. So anything happens and his team's, basically just done for. It's not done for because, he has a lot of people who could put up a lot of points. But, as good as Rashad Bateman is, I don't think, he's dropping, crazy games like this every single week. The Baltimore's going to be dropping 42 every week. This is a good offense. But, we'll see how they go into the end of the season. They had a clear regression into the later part of the season last year. And, you could say that's just last year, but, I think it is kind of notorious that certain players and, coaches, do better. Whether it's in December, November, October. And I'm also somewhat out on Derrick Henry. The Titans seem like they're kind of lost right now. They're waving the white flag last night. And definitely seems like they may be looking to hit a transition phase for the team.
They need it, man.
Maybe go for Malik Willis and help Leo's dynasty team.
Yeah, give him some opportunities. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like you guys said, I was really high on Erman's team last week, but then we did have that problem of him like not having a running back, right? Because Elijah Mitchell is hurt, and me and Ryan have talked about this many times about how if one of Erman's running back goes down, his team is screwed, and that's what we're seeing here. Well, not really what we're seeing here, but that's gonna hurt him in the future. Is what I'm trying to get at. Because Kenyon Drake, 0.8 points. There's no way he's gonna do better, right? Because J.K. Dobbins coming back pretty soon. Yeah. And then they got Mike Davis, going to be the backup, and then Lamar can of course rush it on his own. So I don't think Kenyon Drake is going to be there, and I don't see any good running backs on the waiver wire. So he's going to have to make some trades. And Erman has some stud wide receivers on his team that he can definitely trade off, but that's something that he's got to consider for sure.
Looking at a Boston's team. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say a Boston's team I think is pretty good. Like Lamar Jackson is a really good quarterback, and DeAndre Swift is looking like he's gonna be a steal of the draft. But I think a Boston's team relies too heavily on the Raiders. If there's any down week with the Raiders, where they have not a good offensive week, which happens, the Boston's team is toast that week. On the bright side for him, I think most weeks the Raiders are going to be in shootouts and high-scoring games, and so Devontae and Darren Waller are going to be a huge part of that. And I wasn't super high on Josh Jacobs, but he's getting 19 carries, so that's pretty good. So he's definitely getting volume. So I think, and then he has Melvin Gordon in his flex, which is, I guess he didn't have a great week last week, but 10 carries out of your flex is not too bad. And I guess most of the time he'll be playing Michael Pittman his flex anyway.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about like how poorly the Colts have been? And
I have Jonathan Taylor, so a little stressful, but I think they'll turn it around. It's like their first year with Matt Ryan, so
yeah,
first couple of games. So I think hopefully they'll turn it around.
Yeah,
I think Mike Pittman's wonderful,
but I don't think the Colts will be great this year. But I definitely think they'll get better than what they are right now because they just lost 24-0 to Jacksonville.
I mean more of like a fantasy perspective, not actually like being good. I don't think there's any chance they're making the playoffs. But yeah.
Let me rephrase my thought, I guess. Do you guys think Michael Pittman's, his great week 1 will be like consistently repeated? Like obviously he didn't play this week, so he's gonna have 0. Do you think that is how the season is going to be consistently for him, or do you think he's going to be not as good and it's just a big game for the Colts?
I think he's going to be good.
Okay.
I think he's going to be good. He'll get targets.
Yeah. And also, based on what he did last season, is consistent with what his game 1 was. So I don't see why you wouldn't expect him to be good. The offense isn't as great right now, but I think he'll be a good fantasy receiver.
Okay.
I think his team is really good. I obviously don't really like how all the players on the Raiders is what he's relying on, but I'm also I hate Josh Jacobs. He gets so many touches, and it seems like he's never getting more than 15 points. But he's an RB2. It doesn't really matter too much. I feel like if you can get around 10. You can't get points in every position, but I think he definitely has one of the better teams. I do think I like it better than Justin's team, but I think it's close.
No, I think I definitely like Abbas's team better than Justin's team.
You guys think it's weird that DeAndre Swift only got 7 touches last week in the game they won by 30, or they scored 36 points in?
I think it was because they had him on a snap count because of his injury.
Oh, yeah, injury. I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. I think it was a high ankle or something like that. Still played and still had a good fantasy game. So
yeah,
I was kind of shocked when he took him that early in the first round in the draft, but he looks
that is
good.
the right choice. Yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of forgetting about the injury. But yeah, so I guess that is a good sign for him then. They off 7 touches, he can drop 15.7 points. If you got 2 points off of every touch from your player, I'd be feeling pretty good.
I'm rooting for the Lions this year too. I'm a Bears fan, of course, but still, after watching Hard Knocks, I want them to succeed.
I thought they were interesting for sure.
Yeah.
They're objectively better than everybody thought they'd be. Yeah. Y'all don't have anything else to say? We can move on to the next matchup, which is the highest scoring one of the week.
Yeah.
Take it, Leo.
Time to Khalil versus Scrub Club. You want to go ahead, Ryan?
Sure. So, all I got to say is excellent performance out of the Scrubs. We would have beat every team in the league besides Leo and his monstrous 164-point week. I don't know. I just gotta say I'm happy with the way the team's playing. I think Mike Williams will have a lot more weeks that look like this one than his week 1 performance. Although maybe not 20 points, but I think I can expect decent weeks out of Mike Williams. Cooper Kupp is looking like on pace to have a better season than last season, and so can surely slow down. But I think he'll be the Cooper Kupp of old. And then Travis Kelce will be a nice little piece to the squad. I'm slightly worried about my flex position. Adam Thielen was completely non-existent the entire game until the very end, and then he racked up those garbage time points. And I guess once Chris Godwin comes back, I'll play him. But I'm slightly worried about my flex position and my running back positions as well. But I think between Mike Williams, Cooper Kupp, and Travis Kelce, and then Kyler Murray being a decent enough quarterback, I'm happy with the way that the Scrubs look this season.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment. I think the biggest problem that I see on your team is definitely the running back room. Because, I think we can all agree that Aaron Jones is definitely the clear running back 1 now, right?
I don't agree.
Or do you still think it's 1A, 1B still?
I think it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah,
he's good.
Aaron Jones played better, but technically, A.J. Dillon had more touches.
And comparing A.J. Dillon to some of these other running backs, I think that are in the position, I'd rather have A.J. Dillon than Ezekiel Elliott or Cam Akers or players like that. But
this feels like an attack.
Yeah, it almost looks like, Ryan, you went for a 0 RB strategy, right? In this draft. Am I right? Or did it just kind of fell that way?
No, that was my plan going in. I told Leo that I wanted Jamar Chase and Travis Kelce was my round 1, round 2 plan going in.
Then you made that trade.
Yeah, I know. I made the trade, which is looking beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm a little mad at Tate for giving you Cooper Kupp. I feel like you shouldn't have been able to get Cooper Kupp at 10.
No.
I mean,
I don't. Jamar's wonderful and all, but Cooper Kupp just put up the best wide receiver season in history, and now has one more year under the belt with his new quarterback. I don't think you trade away Cooper Kupp for anyone. Yeah, I almost think about. I was contemplating between him, Jonathan Taylor, and Christian McCaffrey, and it's almost like I made the wrong decision now because of it.
Should have taken McCaffrey.
I think the running back room drops off so hard though, and Jonathan Taylor.
It does. It does.
I still don't think it's the right. Even though Cooper Kupp has been awesome, long
I
term,
do always like the
still
way
like
my team comes out whenever I get running backs early, so I can hit on those wide receivers, like Mike Williams, for instance. On a lot of my other leagues, I try to get Mike Williams in that third or fourth round, along with like Michael Pittman, just because I thought they were going to have a good season. Also, I think Mike Williams is the guy there. I think he's better than Keenan Allen.
I don't know. Keenan is route running ability is elite. Mike Williams, I just feel like his toolbox isn't as big as Keenan's. Keenan can do a lot more than Mike can do.
Yeah, I'm still a Keenan believer. I didn't understand when your brother was saying they should trade Keenan the other day.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. I still think Keenan's a great guy, but I think Mike Williams is like pushing it now to be better than him. I think it'll happen this season. I think it's already happened, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Keenan. To be fair, Keenan Allen was hurt the second week, but in the first half, the first quarter of the week 1, did you see his production in the first quarter?
I did not watch the game. I did not watch the game, so there's that.
Well, I mean, he had, I think it was 8 points. I don't remember how many points. He's my player, I should know this, but yeah, he had like 8 points or something like that in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter, in the second half, he didn't even play at all because it was his hamstring. Like he was having hamstring problems. So I think Keenan Allen will still end up being better than Mike Williams because, he like Ryan said, he's a route runner. And then Mike Williams is going to be like the big play guy, and you can't really rely on the big plays in every single week, So
but
I think
it almost looks
Keenan
like
Allen's going to produce more fantasy points.
With Keenan out, it almost seems like they use him kind of like a mixture. Like I feel like he had a lot more near like the first down kind of catches instead of.
That's
I mean, of course he had
been.
some big catches.
Oh yeah, I mean,
or you said Mike Williams did?
Mike Williams, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's how they use Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen has always been a guy that just moves his sticks.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And now that they paid Mike Williams, I feel like they might. Well, it looks like they were. I don't know if it was because Keenan was out or not. You guys are the Chargers fans, but I just think he's got the talent to take over this year. Because Keenan's getting old too.
I think Justin Herbert can produce enough for both.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Also, do you guys think Mike Williams or Keenan Allen rest of the year for fantasy if they're both healthy?
Keenan Allen.
I would rather have Keenan on my team if I got to pick between the two.
I'm so opposite. I think it's completely the other way. Wasn't Mike Williams better last year too?
There's 14
for fantasy.
It didn't matter.
Just think Keenan's more consistent. Mike Williams is gonna drop like a big crazy weeks here and there, but he'll also have these bust weeks. I think Keenan across the board is gonna have good weeks always, and you can confidently put him in your lineup.
See,
Mike, you never.
Yeah.
Between those two things, I think I would rather have the guy that if two players are scoring the same amount of points over like a fantasy season, I would want the guy who puts like 30 on one week instead of a dude who's put like 10 every single week. Because like that 10, I mean, it's good to have some consistency, but like if he's putting up that much points on 1 week, you have a higher chance of winning than someone who's putting up 10 consistently. I think I'd rather have like some of the lull games and then the huge games. But that's just me personally.
I think it depends on the roster.
Oh, definitely.
So if you have like in Ryan's case, if you had Cooper Kupp and Travis Kelce, I honestly think Mike Williams is a better fit for Ryan's team.
Agreed.
Just because, you're pretty I know Travis Kelce only 7.6, but for tight end that's pretty good. You're pretty confident in some of these guys to score, like a steady amount of points. Having a guy like Mike Williams who can really bust out big plays is actually, in my opinion, a really good thing to have on a team like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure. I have a hard time analyzing Leo's team, if I'm being completely honest. But I think Keenan would probably be pretty good there. I think you're both the guys you guys have at your rosters. Which I guess speaking of, I guess we can get an analysis of Leo's.
Real quick, Ryan, what's your thoughts on Travis Etienne?
My thoughts on Travis Etienne are I'm very disappointed in the way he has been utilized. I think from what I've read, though, he is getting much more of the passing snaps, which is good, so maybe that's the way they're going to work him in. But, I think people were drafting him hoping he was going to be like an Alvin Kamara, and he's more like a Nyheim Hines. And so that hurts, definitely.
What's up, dudes?
Hey, Christian, we're filming something right now. Would you mind hopping out? You're good. That's my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get into my team?
Yeah.
It's here.
Well, first of all, I'm super proud of my boys. I beat Ryan this week, 164.7 to 131.95, which is really that's I think that's the highest scoring I've ever had, ever.
It's
Like
one of
in
the highest
fantasy.
of all the fantasy teams.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
I
sure what the
think
highest is, but it's up there.
yeah. Well, me and Ryan, this has been an ongoing thing since the first year of fantasy for me. Every time I play Ryan, the first time I beat him by a lot, and then the second time, when the second time come around, like I feel like Ryan's gonna take a poop on my team. Uh, I can definitely see it coming. But yeah, getting into my team, I'm super proud of my boys. Christian McCaffrey, he didn't perform as well as I thought he would. But a lot of people are saying that that's nothing to be worried about. They'll figure it out at one point. So I'm not too worried about that. So I'm not too worried about CMC. And then Nick Chubb, 30 points. I was very fortunate. He scored that touchdown at the end to boost a little more. Well, it didn't really matter. I would still beat Ryan either way. But yeah, he didn't mean to score that touchdown, but he did. That's very good for my team. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, the sun god. Dude, I have drafted a stud. I was really happy about that too. And I think once Keenan Allen comes back, Alan Lazard, I don't think he will be as like productive for me as he has been this week. So I'm definitely gonna have Keenan fit back into the lineup. I think that Keenan Allen fits better in my scheme. I believe, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't like my bench. I don't like my bench at all. Looking at it, when it comes to my flex play, I'm not gonna have that for very long. But I'm looking to make some trades here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that as well.
First off, I'm always down for trade. I think everyone in the league knows that. I've probably sent more trades in the past 2 years than most people have in the league history. But I kind of struggle. Yeah, I kind of struggle on your team, Leo. I think you said that too, didn't you, Adam?
I have a hard time analyzing Leo's team.
Yeah.
I think Leo's team's super good, but analyzing is somewhat difficult for me.
It's been such a weird first 2 weeks. I think Amon-Ra is that guy, but I think Nick Chubb might have had his best week too. He might get one more week like that, but 3 touchdowns, that's going to be hard to replicate. But, I mean, you've got a good roster. Keenan Allen comes back. You got an extra 10 points there in one of your wide receiver spots. But, yeah, you pretty much said it. Don't love your bench, but you kind of know that too.
Yeah, I definitely know that. I don't love my bench. I picked up Jameson Williams earlier last week with fear that if I don't, somebody's going to pick him up, and once he comes back, he's just gonna destroy me.
The
later.
rookie receivers are looking good this year. So
I told you it was needless. I said last week I thought Amon-Ra was the clear-cut one and would be. And I hold that opinion still.
I mean, he's currently tied the record for most receptions with 8. The only other guys like Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown who have 8+ receptions in, I think it was 8 straight games. But
yeah. So I said this last week, and I thought Amon-Ra St. Brown was one of the players I was definitely marking going into the draft, but didn't get him. And then I think Christian McCaffrey hasn't been that good for you, but I think in terms of a football game, he actually played pretty well against the Giants. It's just a matter of him starting to get to the end zone. With Christian McCaffrey, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I think Leo's for sure got a solid roster.
Yeah, I think you have like a big boom potential on your team.
You definitely do with Christian McCaffrey, and it looks like you can count on Amon-Ra to have a couple massive performances too.
We have Keenan Allen back.
Yeah,
I feel like if so many guys could boom any single week. I don't think Jacoby Myers is going to be a consistent player, but we'll see. They don't really have any weapons, so I guess it could be him.
Yeah, I think the only other receivers they have is like Kendrick Bourne. wait, right? Or is
Yeah,
it,
no,
is it
you're
Kendrick
right.
Bourne?
You're right. But
Yeah.
it's just like him being their other weapon is just funny to me.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne and then Nelson Aguilar. Those are the only two guys.
Yeah, they do
And
have
Hunter
Nelson
Henry.
Aguilar.
You know.
Yeah, but Hunter Henry's a tight end, and just been injured so much.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm very happy with what I have, except for the bench, of course.
Yeah, let's say Herbie doesn't play next week. Are you starting Jameis Winston with confidence?
Not with confidence. I don't know if I would say
But you
that.
are starting him then.
I
Starting
will.
with
I
regret.
will be starting him.
Leo, I know you said at the beginning of the analysis on your team, you're looking to do some trades. What are you trying to fill? Just your flex spot or a certain position?
If you look at my bench, basically, I want to
Just
fill my
depth
depth a
pieces?
little bit. Yeah.
It'd be running
Gotcha.
back or receiver, right? I mean, because you basically have your two.
Yeah, it
running
looks like it
out.
doesn't really matter too much which position it is, as long as it's someone who's consistent.
Yeah.
Probably closer to running back, I would think. But, I mean, everybody wants a running back, right? So it's hard to get.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ryan? What do you think about my team? Haven't heard from you.
Yeah, I think your team's really good. Obviously, it just dropped 160 points. Not many bad teams are out here dropping 160 points. I think,
50.
Like Braxton said, I don't know that Nick Chubb is dropping 30 points again, but I think you could have a lot of weeks where Christian McCaffrey's stat line looks the way that Nick Chubb's looked this week, and then Nick Chubb's looks the way that Christian McCaffrey's looked. And so then, Amon-Ra's not going to get 34, but if he's getting you in the 20s and you're getting like usable stuff out of your other players, you get Keenan back. It's a very solid squad. I like your team a lot. And then also I did a little check. The previous highest scoring week was Christian in 2016 with 158. So Leo broke the record with
Wow.
160.
Wait,
I'm
so the
super,
fantasy
super
app's
happy
wrong
with
then, because it said you had 167, but I didn't think that was right.
Oh, that might be right. This is this Excel sheet, and so I might have not updated this in a while.
Oh,
This
okay,
was in
I'm
2019. This was 2019. It said you scored 167, which some
Okay,
of the
then I would
scores.
trust the then.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I don't
not gonna-
believe because the app is a little finicky, if I'm being honest with its reports. But I was looking through it while we were on here, and it said you had scored 167 in like 2019 or 2020.
Was that when you had Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, like going like 40 bombs? I think that was
Could've
the
been
week.
something like
I mean,
that.
I would trust it if that's what the thing says.
Yeah, I was going through all the teams, like, because like a boss had 162, which seems accurate. Justin seemed low. I thought Justin had a higher week than 158, but I could have been wrong. But I don't know. But yeah, Leo's was second highest based on what I looked at on the app. But I look back later and see.
Yeah, overall, I'm really proud of my team. Sorry I had to do this to you, Ryan, but it had to be done at some point to somebody. And it just happened to be you.
It's all right. I'm not, the Scrub Club looked nice. I'm just
Yeah. The Scrub Club looked really nice.
I'm 2-0 right now. We got 130 points. I'm third in the league in total scoring. I can't be that upset about it.
Right.
Congrats,
And here's another thing. I don't think the Bills defense will be like this every week.
No, they're not going to be. I mean, they're really good, but they're not going to be that good every week.
Yeah.
I had them last year, and they'd put up games like that. I mean, they scored 18 last week against the Rams, though.
Right.
But this next week, we'll see which one. Miami, they're saying, they're hyping them up right now. We'll see.
Who's going to be the real clear cut?
Exactly. That's what I want to see. So I'm pretty excited about that game.
What I'm hoping for right now is just Baker do more checkdowns. Like, he just do more checkdowns. Please don't try to overthrow it, and then get it intercepted. Just do more checkdowns to
next
CMC.
week, so we'll see how that goes.
Is it Marshawn Lattimore suspended or no?
No, just Mike Evans.
Really?
Oh, wow. That's kind of wacky.
Yeah. They're good at pressuring the quarterback, so I would think Baker would have to do checkdowns. You would think, but we'll see how that goes.
I'd hope so.
But yeah, if no one else has anything to say, we can move on to the last matchup of the week, which is Christian and Colin, which I'm very surprised by. I think we all hyped up Colin's team last week, and they dropped 79 points, which is, pretty abysmal. Josh Allen, as good as you would expect, but, his two running backs who were really good week one, definitely regressed. Leonard Fournette, I'm not going to hold it against him very much because, New Orleans always has Tampa's number, and it's just going to be hard for him to perform against a team like that. I know on Twitter he was telling, fantasy owners that he'll be scoring more touchdowns soon. So he's listening to you all, Colin. And then Joe Mixon also, I think Dallas, whether people like it or not, the defense is pretty solid. And, they're definitely going to have a hard time running against us. I didn't expect us to play this well against Cincy as we did. But, that was nice. And then Juju, I don't even remember seeing him on the field at all. I'll be honest. I don't know if anybody else noticed that during the game against the Chargers, but I feel like
I didn't see him.
I feel like I never was seeing him on the field at all. And then Terry McLaurin. I think it's kind of interesting what's going on that team because Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson are, getting more work, and Terry McLaurin's usage is actually going down. So I don't know how they're going to proceed, but it feels like there's actually pretty good weapons in Washington, and so it could be kind of cluttered and hard to get consistent performances from him. And so I think Colin's team is still really good, if I'm being honest. I think they just had a down week, and so he's got a lot of depth on the team, and I think he'll be fine. Does anybody got anything to say?
I just realized I was on mute. Yeah, I think there's definitely a question on his receivers. Well, for me personally, Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel are really talented. So it's a lot of really good receivers in competition with Terry. He's probably I think he's probably the most talented, but kind of tough. And then Juju, who in the world knows what's going on there? Who knows if he's going to be good or not? Week one, he had the most targets on the team from the wide receiver spot, and this week he basically wasn't there. Michael Thomas saved his week with a late touchdown, but still got D-Hop in a couple weeks. James Robinson is looking wonderful, despite coming back from an Achilles tear. I think his team is good. I think it's more middle of the pack than top of the league currently, but I wouldn't hate to have those running backs.
Yeah, I think last week everybody that was on the podcast, it was me, Ryan, and Adam. We had Colin's team very, very high, and I think he was one of the team that we thought would be the scariest team that we have this season, and that kind of not seemed that way this week. I think it's just that this week they just had an off week. Leonard Fournette was very limited to what he could do against New Orleans, but it's the Saints. The way they played this week everything was on the defense for Tampa. So I think he's gonna have more touchdowns, like he said on Twitter. That's gonna be good for Colin. And then Garrett Wilson, he's a very good wide receiver for the Jets, right? I think he's in one of the conversations for being one of the top rookies of this year.
He had 14 targets.
Right. So, yeah. So I think
the Jets have thrown it more than any team has so far.
Yep. Yeah. Joe Flacco's top 3 in yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think going forward, Colin's team is still pretty scary for me. So I'm still pretty high on that.
One thing I do notice, and I guess, it's not as interesting. It's more about football, but, there's always, like, teams that you stream, a defense against, right? And it used to be the Lions, but, it doesn't seem to be the case where you can just stream your defense against the Lions, or... I don't know, are you confident? What team are you confident streaming a defense against right now?
Probably the Colts.
You think Colts?
Yeah, I would probably start a team playing the Colts.
Yeah.
Some other ones.
Because I was trying
Patriots.
to think. Yeah, okay. Patriots.
I don't think Mac Jones and that offense can really put up huge numbers. So I think your defense might not blow up with a ton of points, but I don't think they're giving you the negative points at all if they're ever facing the Patriots.
Yeah.
But
the Steelers, I'd feel comfortable starting a defense against the Steelers.
Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, like how the teams have shifted. Who you're confident streaming against, because I feel like for the last couple of years, it's always been like you Jags, Texans, which Texans you're probably still pretty confident streaming defense against them. Like Jags, Texans, Lions, and that's who you're picking up the defense for on the waiver.
Oh, also the Bears.
Oh yeah.
Whoever's playing the Bears, you could probably start that defense. They're not really passing too much.
True.
They're not going to score a lot of points. They might not get over 20 for the rest of the season, but
yeah.
In the Bears' defense, I think Justin Fields missed a throw on Equanimeous St. Brown. Did you guys see that clip of him like completely wide open?
I turned off
Fields
the game.
chose to check down.
I mean,
when I read it, sounded like he was missing a lot of throws.
Well,
he was missing a lot of throws.
They only called 11 passing plays, so
the ball was still
11
wet.
times.
The ball was still wet.
Yeah,
from the rain.
I just understand what's going on there. It's like we know we're not going to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out if Justin Fields is the franchise quarterback, but you can't figure out if he doesn't throw the ball. He has, I think, like 11 completions on the season. So that's not wonderful. We're never going to be able to see if he's the guy if they don't start throwing the ball.
That's true.
I don't like being a Bears fan this season.
Yeah, it feels like they're already tanking.
Yeah, I told Adam week 1, I said, this is probably the happiest I'll be throughout the whole season, so I might as well just quit now, stop watching the games. But tough.
You should become a Charger.
I can't change teams, but I can stop watching teams.
Yeah, do you guys want to move on to Christian's team?
Yeah. Let me see. Honestly, I haven't really looked at his team very much, but
I think this is the last team to analyze before we get into predictions.
So I'm not quite sure how to feel about his team because I guess Jalen Hurts, he's going to be good. Like he's fantasy monster, and honestly, right now he's been pretty good in actual football, or really good in actual football too. People are chanting his name for MVP. It's week 2, maybe a little bit early for that. We'll see. But Dalvin Cook was not very good in this game against Philly, and I'm not sure if that's just because it's a Monday night and Kirk Cousins is not good in prime time or not. But Dalvin Cook definitely has not been putting up the production that I think fantasy owners would like from him. And I think Javonte, is also somewhat strangleholded by I don't know. Jesus, he had 11 receptions week 1. That is insane. He is still somewhat stranglehold by having Melvin Gordon on the team, so there's always going to be that. So it's going to be hard for him to put up crazy numbers. But 11 receptions is pretty notable for week 1.
Call me crazy, but I think I would rather have his team than our team to our right here, Colin's team.
Really?
I would. I think they started off slow, but I think Dalvin Cook's going to turn it around. I like his team a lot.
I think Christian also is still discovering the identity of his team, i.e. being Drake London and Jahan Dotson. Are could potentially be notable fantasy. I would say they already are somewhat notable fantasy guys right now.
I think there should be receiver 2 in his flex.
That's literally what I was thinking. And so, I think AJ Brown will have better games. He had 9.4, but he was in the blue tent for a while. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that I think the first couple of weeks sometimes in fantasy, you're still trying to figure out where your team's at. And Christian's case is one of those where he thought his team was going to be one way, but it's a different way, and he was able to win, despite that, right?
Yeah.
Which is he's 2-0 despite that, and so I would say
looking at
he's likely going to make playoffs, because he sees the identity of his team now. It's a matter of him actually being making those decisions.
Looking at his core guys, it's like Dalvin Cook, Javonte, AJ Brown, and of course you have Jalen Hurts, who we got later than a lot of these quarterbacks, and I think he has a very good team, especially if Dalvin turns it around, which I definitely think he will.
Yeah.
In the same boat as Austin Eckler, too.
Yeah, and then also, Javonte, he had the fumble on the goal line against Seattle, and, that could have been a touchdown. And then, I don't know if you guys seen the video, but he was, wide open in the end zone against Houston, and Russ didn't throw it to him. So, he's 2 plays away from being, one of the better running backs in the league. And so I think those kinds of plays, eventually he'll get, the good coin toss on those kinds of things. I think I agree with you. Christian's team's really good, especially if Drake London and Jahan keep playing this way. Christian's team's pretty solid at every position, I think.
There's always been at least one rookie that's made it into the top 15 fantasy performers in the past decade. And I think he has a shot to have one of those guys between Drake London and Jahan Dotson. Yeah. Maybe more Drake London, but...
Do you guys think it's concerning at all? The way, the Broncos coaching is operating their offense right now?
Oh, definitely.
In terms for, your fantasy players on that team.
I have Russell Wilson, so there's definitely concerns. I may or may not be picking up a quarterback and streaming him this week, because I don't think I want to play Russell against the San Francisco 49ers. But it's tough.
Yeah. I would say that's kind of my only concern with Javonte is they seem I don't know, they don't really know what they don't have the confidence to make decisions and stick by him and I don't know, make the plays that you should. Because didn't they punted right from the 30 or something, and it just seemed weird. Or is that was the thing, right?
They did a lot of weird stuff, dude.
I think it was they made a call that would be in the 0.1 percentile of calls made in the entirety of the NFL. So basically nobody would ever make that.
I think I had a lot higher hopes for that Denver offense. I think probably everyone did.
Yeah.
But I still have faith that Russ can figure something out. Cortland Sutton's been decent for me so far, but we'll see if Russ can turn it around.
Yeah, I'm a Cortland Sutton believer.
Me too, buddy.
I was very high on Javonte Williams. I think you can ask Ryan this too. We and him talk about the draft before, about the mock drafts of the possible players that I would be getting. I was getting Javonte Williams in every single one of my mock drafts, and then come Dynasty, bang, a boss takes him the first round, first pick. I was very confused.
Well, first pick.
And then, his first pick. Yeah, his first pick. Yeah. Yeah, and then for South FFL, I was really worried that our boss was going to do the same thing, pull some stuff like that. But he ended up not doing it. And then I was holding for Javonte Williams to drop to me. And then once he got to Christian, he took him. I was very sad about that. But then now seeing him, I'm a little worried with the coaching, with the way they're utilizing him. I don't think they're really using him to his full potential.
I think it's a criminal offense to take Javonte Williams and Najee Harris over Justin Jefferson in our Dynasty League. I don't understand where the thought process was there. Running backs don't stay in the league as long as wide receivers. Justin Jefferson's on pace from his first 2 seasons to be one of the best wide receivers in NFL history. But I don't know.
And they got an offensive coordinator who likes to throw, right?
He was the offensive coordinator on the Rams last year.
Justin Jefferson going 5 was so shocking to me.
For sure.
Yeah, but I don't think I would be worried about Christian's team. I'm still very high on his team as well. AJ Brown is still a stud wide receiver, and then, like you said, Adam, I don't know. Like he has a lot of studs too on the bench, and he just needs to find that solid flex that he's going to run with. Or the solid wide receiver too that he's going to run with every week. But yeah, other than that, I think his team is still very solid. And congratulations, Christian, you won this week. But I do think it is also a lucky win because to me, I think Colin. I want to disagree with you, Braxton. I think Colin still has the better team for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to say? We'll put in some picks if not.
We can move on to the predictions.
Yeah. So the first one on here is mine and Ryan's matchup. No. My mind is telling me to pick Ryan's team. But I'm gonna listen to my heart. I'm gonna listen to my heart. I'm gonna pick mine.
Ryan, do you know who you're playing in your flex spot? Are you keeping Adam Thielen?
I need to do some more research. I'm debating it because similar to Adam, like I feel really good about Tyler Boyd against the Jets, but everything I'm reading is advising me to play Adam Thielen in my flex. So I don't know what I'm doing in the flex position yet.
Wow. I had no idea you guys like the projections were this close for your matchup.
Yeah, technically I am supposed to win this matchup, believe it or not.
Any chance Travis Etienne breaks that starting lineup again?
I've had thoughts about benching A.J. Dillon for Travis Etienne this week because I'm really scared of Tampa's defense. I could see this like being a game where Green Bay just like doesn't really score very many points. It's not a bad game for A.J. Dillon. And I could see Travis Etienne, with Chargers pass rush, of him getting the ball checked down to him a lot.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that I'm debating Travis Etienne over A.J. Dillon. And actually, this morning, that was how I had my lineup. I had Travis Etienne over Dillon, and I had Boyd over Adam Thielen. And I was projected like 99 points. And I was like, oh, God, this looks really bad.
Does it intimidate you at all that I have Justin Jefferson at my flex?
Yeah, this man has depth, Ryan.
It does not intimidate me. I could move Cooper Kupp to my flex, I guess.
My pick would be Ryan this week.
Yeah, honestly, I think Ryan has a better chance this week. Based on what I've seen last year with the Green Bay Packers playing the Buccaneers. Aaron Jones was only limited to like less than 10 points, while A.J. Dillon had more of the touches on the ground. So I think A.J. Dillon would still be a viable fantasy option for you this week. I don't know if I'm making sense. But.
Yeah. I gotta pick my team too. I'm not super confident about it. I'm definitely worried about your team this weekend, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo back. No.
I'll tell you this.
I think I got.
If Kirk Cousins has a bad game against Detroit's defense, I will be hitting the panic button.
Detroit's defense is looking good.
A
lot better. Well,
didn't
good.
Eagles drop
a lot
38
better.
on them week 1?
I guess a lot better than last year is what I kind of mean to say. And I don't know. I feel like the Eagles are. Who they play last week?
Didn't the Commanders drop like 27 on them?
Yeah, but I know. Didn't they have a couple interceptions too?
Yeah, that's all right. I'll be panicking if Kirk Cousins bombs it against them. I will. But yeah, seems like everybody's against me. That's all right. Got a chip on our shoulder, but we can move on to the next one, which is Colin and Justin. Let's see. I'm gonna look at some of these matchups real quick.
Well, Justin has Alvin Kamara, and I'm sure that'll change.
Yeah.
But
I reckon I'm taking Colin here. I'll be straight up.
Yeah, Collins
I
got
see-
the Hungry Joe mixing.
I see Josh Allen versus Miami, and I saw what Lamar Jackson did to Miami last week. So no,
Yeah, unless Justin changes his quarterback play.
he doesn't have a
I-
backup. I don't think, does he?
I know he'd have to stream somebody, but I don't think I could take him with that Brady start going on.
I also think Aaron Jones could have a hard time against Tampa's defense. Tampa's defense is pretty solid, and he has Jalen Waddle against Buffalo, and Buffalo's defense has been pretty solid. I guess
That's what I was
if Gabe Davis comes back, that could be really good for him. But we'll have to see how that turns out. Cole Kmet, zero confidence in him.
Oh
He's
yeah,
playing
you can
two-
go ahead
He's
and
playing
drop
2
Cole
Chicago.
Kmet.
Yeah, he still has Cole Kmet. He's got 2
I
Chicago
think he's going
guys
to
in.
change it and
He has
start
to.
somebody else. Yeah.
Dude, it's brutal out there. I've averaged 0.55 between the two I've streamed. So. That's
Gotta
his
pick
Colts
Collins' team.
defense against Kansas City right now. But,
Sure
He's
that-
going to have to do some changes. I'm
yeah,
sure
Collins
he'll.
got Commanders versus Philly though, so I guess they're both gonna have to find somebody. And I'll tell you this: with my number one waiver wire pickup, I'm picking up a defense. So,
That's
Gotcha.
mine.
oh,
I think I'm third on the waivers. So
yeah. Well, I think I'm number one. I have to be after last week's points. Yeah. Well, Tate's not gonna pick anybody up, so you basically have second.
You never know. They might be doing some
But are we all taking
quarterback.
Collins' team, or I'm taking Collins?
I'm taking.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
taking Collins.
I'm taking Collins for sure.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next matchup, which is Christian versus Dad. And I'll tell you, I don't think I have to look at the matchups. I'm taking Christian's team.
Nope. Yep.
Like
Pretty easy win for me.
Like, yeah, Drake London's in Christian's flex right now. So like, it's not really something I have to like. He has Aaron Rodgers who's playing Tampa's defense, and last year, I know they obliterated him 2 years ago, but I think they did last year too.
To Tampa and Green
Aaron
Bay.
Rodgers, yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely last year too.
yeah, I
'Cause I
remember
had
2 years
Aaron
ago for
Rodgers.
sure. But yeah, I just don't see that working out well. But overall, Christian's team's just better.
Yeah, I think Christian's team is gonna do better this week too. I pick Christian.
Oh, he has Drake London in his flex this week too.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh. Yeah,
Think,
definitely choosing Christian.
I think we see a good bounce back week from Eckler this week for my dad, but I think Christian's
Oh
team
yeah, for sure.
has much better matchups. Like Alvin Cook against Detroit, I think he can do well. Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown against Washington is pretty good. Drake London against Seattle. I think overall Christian has a better team and just way better matchups.
Yep. Yeah, plus with Michael's team, CeeDee Lamb is still behind Cooper Rush. He still has Cooper Rush throwing to him, so I don't think that'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be as good as Christian's AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christian's team
I
for
think
sure.
that's a pretty obvious one. We got Ermin versus Leo. Let's see what we got.
Ooh, this one is tough for me.
Well, I wish I
definitely
had
am
confidence
going
in
for
you.
myself.
You were playing at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with my team. I don't know. I hope. Shoot, I don't know, man. For my quarterback, I don't know if I'm really sold on Jameis Winston. He did throw 3 picks last week.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the old Jameis. But I don't know. He could improve, but that'll be a surprise, I guess, for you.
I'll tell you this: I can't take Ermin when he's got Kenyon Drake in his lineup.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to take Ermin here. I'm drawn to his team this week because I think Derrick Henry. I'm out on him, but I think he might have a better game than usual. But with Kenyon Drake in there, I can't.
4.3 projected points.
Are you playing Bills defense this week?
Yep. I'm playing the
You're
Bills
committed?
defense. I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're averaging 20 points. You gotta
Yeah,
keep
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have to.
Sure.
ride the hot hand. I have to pick. I I don't know. I think Leo's team wins even without Herbert, which I think from everything the Chargers have been saying, Herbert is going to play this weekend. Tomorrow we'll know.
What about Keenan?
But
Keenan will play. Keenan will definitely play.
String injury, and they had the long week. He didn't play at all last week.
Okay.
But again, like tomorrow is their the practice, so we'll see tomorrow. But yeah, Erman's team. I think T. Higgins is in. I'm big on the Bengals this week. I think they have a big bounce back week against the Jets, so I could see T. Higgins having a big week. And Sean Bateman, I think, will be decent, and Pat will be decent. And Derrick Henry, but I think Kenyon Drake, like you guys said, is not. He's not going to be any good. And then Tyreek, I could see him having a hard time against Buffalo this week, and so I don't know. Gotta pick your team, I guess, Leo.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, we got a boss versus Allen.
Oh,
good old
love story, huh?
Mm-hmm. Gotta love it.
This is a hard one. This is a tough one.
Oh, I already know who I'm taking.
Think so. I don't think so. I think
I'm
I'm going
taking
a
the boss.
Yeah.
You think you're taking a boss?
Allen's playing Tua versus Buffalo, dude. I don't see it.
You know, I will say, after going through the teams, I don't know if I do think Allen can make the playoffs. Once we got a little analyzing done with the teams, I think he does have a bottom team.
Yeah, me, Allen, we're all down there. I feel that. Yeah, yeah.
I'm for sure taking a boss. I don't love Elijah Moore in the flex spot, but I mean his other positions are solid. I don't even know who you could put in that position, but
I think the Raiders dominate
Tennessee.
I think Raiders dominate Tennessee also.
What do y'all think about Gerald Everett in his flex spot? Wouldn't that be interesting?
It's bold.
He's looked decent.
He's looked decent.
He
gets the targets. I don't know. I think after him quitting on that route, though, leading to the Herbert might not trust him anymore.
I'll tell you this: you can run 2 tight ends if you want, but if you get screwed over from doing it, you can't be surprised.
Well, if Keenan Allen's out, I think there's a conversation to be had for his team putting in Gerald Everett.
I agree.
But
but the thing is, I saw
Moore's
this
also
video.
been wide receiver 3, right, on that team, basically.
Yeah, because I saw a clip of Justin Herbert being super pissed whenever he was talking to Gerald Everett about the play.
Hey, he did put his finger up. He wanted to come out. He was gassed, but
no, I saw that on TV. I was like, time out, get him out.
Then, get him out. And then he didn't even move after they intercepted the ball. So I don't know if Justin will trust him as much as he did.
Also, Gerald Everett looks sick with the number 7 and the dark face mask. He just looks cool.
But yeah, I guess I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I would have to pick a boss, of course.
All right, we move into the Mud Bowl, the 0-2s.
Hey, somebody's going 0-3, and someone's getting their first.
It's not me. It's just straight up not me, guys.
Oh my god! That's all the projections. Oh my goodness, what happened? Oh yeah, okay.
So he's got James
right.
Conner and Mike Evans in.
Yeah.
I don't think James Conner plays. It could be wrong, and I'm hoping Mike Evans doesn't play as well.
He's suspended for this game. He can't play.
Yeah, he's suspended.
I heard somebody say that he's trying to appeal it for this game.
I did not know.
So he'll have Christian Kirk and Michael Carter in.
I like the matchup then, but I still think my team is one of the best in the league. I think I got a little bit unlucky week 1. I would have beat just about anybody in the league. Week 2, I think it was an outlier. Started off 0-2, but I still think I have a pretty good chance on winning this one.
I mean, we all hyped up your team last week. I'm not going to bail on it, immediately whenever you have a bad week. I feel like, honestly, it didn't really matter, though. I think I'd take just about anybody against Tate this week.
Yeah, I still like your team a lot, Braxton. I agree. I think you've had some bad luck, and I gotta pick your team.
Yeah, I'm picking your team, Braxton. I think Kareem Hunt will have better week. I don't think Nick Chubb will have the 30 bomb week every week. This week will probably be a Kareem Hunt week. Hopefully not, but it probably
Be
will
both
be.
of them.
I reckon Joe Burrow
But
and Jamar Chase play a little better this week.
yeah, I
I
think
reckon
that's
gotta
the
be.
thing I was gonna say. I think they're gonna be hungry, and they're playing the Jets. So,
Yeah.
but then again, Jonathan Taylor is gonna be very hungry too, and I think well,
I'm nervous about how that game goes. If the Chiefs go up by a lot of points, they're gonna do what they did last week, just throw the ball,
yeah.
throw a lot of incompletions. But I don't know. Maybe Jonathan Taylor eat again.
You would hope
And
for it, right?
Saquon. I think Saquon might have been one of the better picks in the draft
Agree.
with the 2-3
Yeah,
turn.
yeah, yeah.
Him
I
and
agree.
Amon Ra, of course, Leo. That was a wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Here's the
Hey,
thing. We were
Dallas's
talking
defense
about
is
your
good.
team.
Dallas's
They are
defense is
pretty good. Yeah.
We were
Almost
talking about
a
your team last week, and then this is the things that come up a lot. Your team has a lot of depth, and I think that's really good. And Saquon Barkley was a steal. I think. I think somebody like a lot of people were eyeing him, and then you took him. So
Yeah. I know there was some questions about my receivers, but my thought process behind drafting Mark Andrews was he's going to put up about 1,000 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns just like he did last season. And it was like I could either have that at my tight end spot or draft Mike Evans and have it in my wide receiver spot kind of thing. So I went with the positional advantage with Mark Andrews and tried to hit on some of those later receivers. I think I hit on Cortland Sutton. That offense looks rusty, but he scored like 17 without a touchdown last week. So I have hopes there. I don't have a lot of good receivers on my bench, but I do think I have some depth.
yeah, you definitely have some depth. Yeah. So I think that's all of the predictions, right? I don't know.
yeah.
That's all the predictions we had, right?
Yeah.
I think we all chose the same people.
Nah,
Yeah.
I chose myself against Ryan.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I think there's one other. I don't really remember which one it was. Last week it wasn't the same case. I feel like there's a lot more diversity in the picks.
All I'm going to say, if I lose this week and go 0-3, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs starting like that, I feel like.
Ryan almost made it 1 year after going 0-5.
I think what was it last year, Braxton, or the year before that you almost made the playoffs where you won? I guess it was last year when you had Patterson, where you won all those in a row at the end of the season.
Yeah, I made the waiver wire my best friend with Michael Pittman, Cordell Patterson, and a couple other players, but really saved myself there.
Yeah,
I won't be panic selling any of my players though. I just
Yeah, I almost
scared.
traded for Cordero Patterson last season too. I remember that, but I don't remember who it was, and I turned it down.
I remember
Let's
when
get
it
a
was
trade
helping
going,
James
Leo.
Conner like week 2 last year.
Yeah. James Conner was my biggest issue.
Sorry. It happens.
No. Yeah.
I dropped
Which
Justin
game do you
Jefferson
guys?
his rookie year. I luckily picked him back up.
Yeah. So, which game are you guys the most excited to see? Like I'm talking about the matchups, the fantasy matchups.
Matchup's my own.
Yeah, honestly, probably mine versus Ryan. Like, him being unbiased, I don't know for me. I know calling Justin's maybe interesting. I think Tate and Braxton's too, just because one of them's starting 0-3.
Honestly, I'm really, really interested in seeing your team and Ryan's team, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good matchup.
Wouldn't it be wild if I go 0-3 with 3 of the top 10 running backs on my roster? Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be pretty brutal.
That'd be very brutal. Well, if we don't have any closing remarks, I think we should end it there.
I got a few closing remarks.
Yeah, hit them with it.
At the end of the season, I'm going to be lobbying people in our league to get rid of kickers. I'll be contacting everyone and giving them pros and cons, mainly cons, to see what they think and see if we can get a vote going on replacing kickers for or just taking them out. Not the replacement anything, but just taking kickers out.
Yeah.
So be ready for that.
Ryan
league
puts
mates,
up
if
a
anyone
thing
made it
every
this
year.
far.
Asks if anybody wants any league changes, right?
That will be
I
mine.
would be open to taking a vote on removing kickers for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would keep that in mind. Well, is that gonna be all for today, guys?
Think so.
All right. So if nobody has any closing remarks, well, thank you guys for joining me, Ryan, Braxton, and Adam. Good luck this week, especially you two, Adam and Ryan, since you're playing each other. And then we'll see you guys back here next week, same time, same place, with the South FFL podcast.